Right, next we have Ulrike Tillmann.
Right, so thank you very much. Caroline and David had asked me to say a few closing words here, which I'm happy to do in my view of my upcoming roles and my connection to Atiyah. I promised I will be very brief. And while I have your attention both here in the room and on the screens, I would like to say a few words of thank yous. Caroline did that already, of course, yesterday very eloquently at the dinner, but for the benefit of people on the screen, I would like to, and risking repetition, I still think it would be appropriate to say a few words. We have been part of a wonderful occasion and seen amazing display of mathematics, really, from mathematical physics, just now, analysis in the form of non-commutative geometry, number theory, algebra, and of course, many shades of geometry, which probably were at the heart of here. Symplectic and algebraic geometry, knot theory, differential and algebraic topology. I think we can all agree that the talks have been illuminating, informative, stimulating, and even entertaining in their splendid variation of styles, whether it was a Blackboard style, Blackboard board talk, or in slides, or whether it was historical or half biographical. It has been really wonderful, and I really like to thank the speakers for all the effort they put into preparing those excellent talks. And having said that, it's in the same way I would like to thank really also the scientific committee with Nigel Hitchen chairing it for selecting the speakers. So I think a round of applause here might be appropriate. So as in every conference, there have been many people working behind the scenes, and I think it's appropriate to mention a few, in particular the staff here at the Newton Institute. And maybe for a hybrid conference like this, the AV and IT team has to be specially mentioned. They have delivered a smooth conference for both us here in the room and online. So I think that's wonderful. One more name I would also like to mention, deserving special consideration, is Laura Postnik, who applied for an NSF grant, which sadly, of course, couldn't be used because of COVID. And then finally, and not at all last, of course, we need to thank Caroline Series, who as president of the LMS, not only initiated, but conceived this whole event. And of course, David Abramson, as the director of the Newton Institute, who really did support this event through its many incarnations. Last year, then in person, then hybrid, and so on. So I think it has been a really special event where we have been able to gather not only to watch talks and enjoy mathematical discussions, but the sunshine, but also splendid conference dinner, even though maybe due to COVID, it wasn't in the usual sort of Cambridge setting. So I know David was very worried about that. I think we don't, there's no need for that. And let's thank them again as well. There's some personal contact I had with Sir Michael Atiyah. I was actually a student in Stanford when I followed my then thesis advisor, Ralph Cohen, to Oxford on his sabbatical. And this was the year 88, 89. And that Michaelmas term, as they're called in Oxford, Graham Siegel and Sir Michael Atiyah did their seminar series on CFT and TQFT. And I didn't know then, I was working on something completely different. I didn't know that TQFT would be staying with me more or less throughout the next 30 years. So I have been influenced by Sir Michael Atiyah, even though I wasn't his grandchild, as you said last time we met. I had to correct him, but of course he immediately said, yeah, but in spirit you are, and he's completely right. I've been Grams Siegel's postdoc and worked on related things and was much influenced. So I wondered actually, contemplating, here we are celebrating one of the greatest mathematicians that we have known of the last century. And what makes somebody great mathematician? And of course, first the mathematical work, and the other theorems. The index theorem is probably the one that stands out. But there are also the ideas, and I think TQFT is one of those. And on one level, it's a definition, but it's an idea that I think has inspired many, many people. And the second thing is probably the influence that on the mathematical community. And it's certainly here in the UK, through his students, Brian Siegel, Nigel Hitchen, Simon Donaldson, Francis Gervin, just to mention a few, their students, their postdocs, and of course the many, many conversations that Atiyah had with lots of the people he came across. We just heard Katharina Schroppel mentioning VC's dinner, all these chance conversations that actually mean something in our mathematical life. So he had a huge influence, and I think just looking around the room here and what we have heard in the last 3 afternoons, I don't really need to say more about that. And then finally, there's of course institution building. And the physical ones and the more the ones that live on in our ideas. And I think it has been mentioned already that Michael Atiyah was the LMS president from 74 to 76, certainly before my time. But of course, the LMS has this tradition that the president gives an address, and the unity of mathematics, the title of this conference, comes of course from Atiyah's presidential address he gave, which has been published by the LMS. Then in 1990, just after I had met him, Atiyah moved from Oxford to Cambridge. At the same time, he was president of the Royal Society, started that, Master of Trinity, and of course the first director of the Newton Institute, which he stayed for 6 years. So let me just say a little bit about the Newton Institute, since we are here, and Michael Atiyah's connection. So all I know really, and I give full credit to Peter Goddard in his essay about Sir Michael Atiyah and the early days of the Newton Institute. So the way Peter Goddard describes it in 1988, some Cambridge mathematicians got together to found something like an institute, a mathematical institute, which was supposed to be brought. And then he says, it became clear very quickly that crucially the institute, and I'm quoting here, need a committed director with involvement in and enthusiasm for the whole range of its activities, because the long-term future of the institute was likely to remain unclear. The arguments pointed strongly towards appointing a very senior person with an outstanding international reputation and with great energy. Of course, by these criteria, Michael Atiyah was the obvious choice, end of quote. And so by the end of 88, Atiyah agreed to join their committee. In May 89, he actually presented the case for the Institute to the Newton Trust, here in Cambridge, and the name, the Isaac Newton Institute for the Mathematical Sciences, was born. So really, of course, Newton's own work being so broad and spread and was really taken then to be the name here in the spirit of the activities here. Then, yeah, I won't go through the history in detail. Of course, you might already know that in 1990, it was the EPSSC was supporting, promised support, and I'm amazed within about a year, this whole building as it stands now was built and everything was completed. Its broad remit in mathematical science as a distinctive character was what Atiyah thought was sufficient. So it's a wonderful thing to still be here. Atiyah stayed the director for 6 years, followed by Keith Moffat, then John Kingman, and well, I guess now we have David Abrams, and I think it's maybe I would like to say, especially, this is his last week here. I think we all own David a great deal, having led the Institute the last 5 years. Given COVID, there's not much of an official and public opportunity to thank him. Let me just say one thing. The Institute funding, yearly funding, has tentupled. It's tenfold since what it was when Atiyah started off, and the last 5 years in particular have been there has been a huge increase. So thank you very much, David. Very much hope that we can take forward the ideas and thoughts from the last 3 afternoons and as a spirit of unity of mathematics and plurality in the ways of doing it as well. So let it all be an inspiration for us all. Thank you. I think that's finished.